What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. And it is an exciting week here on the show because every time we've got to get the email from Impact Wrestling, they've thrown out names, and there's a guy that has eluded us for a very long time on this show. But now we have the reigning, defending X Division champion and future Hall of Famer, Chris Sabin, joining the show. Chris, how you doing, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
I can't complain. And, with all the big news about TNA and Impact Wrestling going away and TNA coming back, I had to put the TNA belts behind me. So we had to make sure we represented. And I do want to talk to you about this because, as you can tell, we're a big belt person on the show. I like to collect belts. If you could bring back one of the TNA belts, I know that there's new belts coming. If you could bring back an X Division TNA belt, which one are you bringing back in this new era?
I would say the one directly above your head right there, that X Division Championship. That was my favorite one, the one with the big red X on it. I thought that was the most recognized title. And if you look around wrestling nowadays, you see a lot of titles that actually copied that look.
Mm-hmm.
The NXT title being one. And so that was a very innovative title right there. I really like that one. It's been copied a lot, but that right there is the original X.
That was the thing is I grew up at the fairgrounds watching NWA TNA every Wednesday night religiously, and seeing that belt, like when I got the opportunity to buy that replica, I was like, I've got to. And then of course, you got the TNA tag title belts, which you have held that belt as well. Speaking of tag teaming, you've got a big match coming up on December 9th. Motor City Machine Guns versus Josh Alexander, Zack Sabre Jr. First time that Zack Sabre is in Impact. He's making his debut. How do you feel heading into this match against Alexander and Sabre?
Well, I'm extremely excited. Zack Sabre Jr., obviously, he's known as one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, possibly of all time. He's made quite a name for himself the last several years, most notably New Japan. But I've never wrestled him. So this will be my first time stepping in the ring, Zack Sabre Jr. Very excited about that. Josh Alexander, his success speaks for itself. Longest reigning TNA/Impact World Champion. I got to say both now because we're kind of in this limbo. It's both TNA and Impact at the same time. But yeah, longest reigning champion of all time. And if you just look at the lineage of that title, that accomplishment speaks for itself. So I truly believe Alex and I are the best tag team in the world, that we're two of the best wrestlers in the world, and we can adapt our style to anything that our opponents bring. So we're known for our technical wrestling along with every other style that we can do. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think our styles are going to mesh well, and we're going to have a great match with those guys.
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic match for sure. And of course, you could still grab tickets, impactwrestling.com. And of course, you can also watch it on Fight as well and pay-per-view. And, speaking of tag team wrestlings, I mean, you've been tag teams, you've been singles. How does your experience in tag team wrestling influence your mindset and tactics as a singles competitor, especially in the highly competitive X division?
Well, I think the biggest difference is that you don't have someone watching your back at the time of the match, right? You can, when you're in a tag team match, your partner's there, and unless he's like hurt or something, you can rely on your partner having your back and helping you out in situations where you might need it. In a singles match, you don't have that. It's all you. It's all on just you. So I mean, that's like the biggest difference. And just, you got to have a different mindset, a mindset that no one's going to be out there helping me and I got to do this all on my own. So, but I do enjoy both. I enjoy tag team wrestling and singles wrestling. They're both very enjoyable to me.
Absolutely, for sure. And of course, the great thing about you having that X Division title is you have that option C. And currently, your tag team partner, Alex Shelley, is the Impact Wrestling champion. Is that ever in the back of your mind thinking, well, I know his weaknesses. I can easily just throw in option C and go after the belt? Or are you enjoying this X Division run and you want to just continue with the X Division title?
Sure, I'm 1000% happy being the X Division champion. For a long time, I thought Alex Shelley deserved to be a world champion in some sort of major promotion, and I'm happy to see him finally accomplish that. And he's having a good run, and I want him to continue that. He's not just my partner; he's one of my best friends, so I want him to succeed. And I have there's no reason for me to go after him. I'm happy being X Division champion. I want him to enjoy his run on top.
Absolutely. And it's great to see both of you guys having championships. And maybe maybe, just maybe, you go after that those tag team titles and just own all the belts in
Yeah,
Impact TNA.
yeah, I like the sound of that.
I mean, that would
I think
be
we should do that.
fantastic. Let's
Yeah.
all make this happen. So, as the current X Division champion, as we're heading in out of 2023 into 2024, what are your goals and aspirations with that X Division championship heading into 2024?
Well, I mean, I think the X Division is basically what made TNA stick out, especially back in the day. That was like the flagship division of the company. If you wanted to compare TNA to some other company, what do they have that this other company doesn't have? Well, there's the X Division,
Mhm.
and it's kind of been like ill-defined. They say it's not about weight limits, about no limits. Kind of been considered a cruiserweight division, but it's there's been heavyweights that have won the X Division championship, so you couldn't really say that. And I think I just want the X Division to come get back to the heights that it was at, when it was the flagship main division in the promotion. And I would love to bring in a lot of new guys, especially guys on the independents that deserve a shot. I would love to have a run to where I just continue wrestling all these new guys that deserve a shot. And eventually, maybe one time we'll discover a talent that's worth investing in, and then we can hire that guy. So, the exhibition has been about making new stars, and I think hopefully I can use that as a tool to help impact TNA, discover some new talent, and possibly hire them and invest in the future more.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about wanting to, look at the indies and bring in, people to challenge you for your X Division title. Is there anybody that stands out in your mind, like right now, that you're like, hey, let's bring him in and let's, me and him go at it?
Man, there's a lot of guys, and um, Judas Icarus. He's a guy that I wrestled recently for Prestige. I think he's amazingly talented, very unique. It's not easy to stand out and be unique in wrestling nowadays, and he's done that on the independent level, and I think that's pretty amazing. He has a partner, Travis, that they wrestled Alex Shelley and I
Mhm.
just about a month ago for Prestige. Also, I think he's really good. Titus Alexander is another one. I wrestled him several months ago for West Coast Pro, and I think he's very talented. And there's other ones that I just can't think of right now. I got back from Mexico yesterday. I'm still recovering, so I apologize. But those guys for sure.
Hey, it's all good. I completely understand. That trip coming back to the States from Mexico is brutal, especially if you have several different layovers in that as well. The great thing and that a lot of people were excited about is recently when Scott Demore very, very passionately said that TNA is effing back. The one thing that a lot of people talk about when it comes to TNA, of course, is the X Division title, but also the six-sided ring. Now, when the idea was coming back around of TNA and bringing that name back, was there ever thought, did anybody kick around the idea of let's bring back the six-sided ring, or did everybody kind of unanimously say, no, we're not doing that?
I don't think there was ever serious discussion about it. Not any that I was involved in anyway. There
Hmm.
might have been at that level, but I think the consensus was that it's a little more dangerous ring. Just the one, and that could have been just the one that TNA used back in the day because the bump was really, really hard.
Yeah.
But I apparently it had to be that way because of how the six-sided ring is constructed. So I don't think there was any serious discussion. I think it's cool. I think it's different, but at the same time, I think the health and well-being of the performers has to come first
Yeah.
before something like that. So yeah.
Definitely. And when I first saw, I guess, the six-sided ring, I was like, how is this going to work out? Like, there's just that. And then, what you were just saying, I've talked to several people that have wrestled in them. It's like, it's a much different vibe. And of course, like you said, different bumps. And it's a little bit more harder on the body than just your normal squared circle.
Yes, that's true. And standing on the top rope is not as easy because the angles are wider. It's not a 90-degree angle like in
Hmm.
a regular four-sided ring. They're wider. So it makes it a little more difficult for us high flyers.
Oh, absolutely. I bet. So, the thing is, the X Division, you look at all the names who have had that title. Your name's up there with the legendary names of, AJ Styles and Amazing Red and Jerry Lynn. How do you want to leave your mark and contribute to the legacy of the X Division Championship during your reign?
Well, I think I'm kind of doing that right now, just having the most title reigns of anyone. I think I have the most combined days as champion, most combined days as champion than anyone else. And really, I mean, I would like to hold the title for a long, long time. You know, if I can have the longest single run as champion as well, hey man, I might be considered the greatest X Division champion of all time.
I think we can just go ahead and say that now. Like, can we just put that out there? Put it on a T-shirt, greatest X Division champion of all time.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, as a favor to you on this show, most of the time when we have people come on to challenge said champion for the title, they go on to win the title. We will make it a rule as of today that anybody that is challenging Chris Sabin for the Impact Wrestling TNA Championship will not be allowed on the show, because we do not want to be that show that made you give up your title. So that is the rule. All the media people at TNA, do not give us anybody that is challenging Chris Sabin for his title, because we want to make sure that he has that belt for many, many years to come.
There we go. I hope Dr. Ross is listening.
Dr. Ross, Lawyer Ross, you know. That guy is a jack of all trades. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got a very busy schedule, and of course, you getting back from Mexico, so you need that rest. Is there anything you want to say to everybody that's watching, listening to this right now?
Just, you know, thank you. Thank you for the support throughout all the years. Thank you for supporting Impact slash TNA. You know, if you want to follow me on social media, I have a Twitter account at Super Chris Sabin. I do not have an Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. That's my only social media. And just, yeah, exciting things coming, man. TNA Wrestling relaunching in the new year. It's going to be great. And please, please help get the word out and help continue to support us.